This is Bruce Bierbauer, lead naturalist at the Science Center. Actually, I'm Bruce. This is Toots, our red-footed tortoise. Red-footed tortoises are native to the Amazon region of South America, but occasionally are found a little bit farther north. They are omnivores, like most tortoises are, but their main food is plant material, so most people call them an herbivore, but they do eat occasional worms and crickets and such. This one is about full grown. You can see it's about, let's see, 8.5, almost, the shell's almost a foot long. And on the scales on his legs, you can see a little bit of red. So they're called the red-footed tortoise. Turtles, as they grow, their shell grows with them because the backbone in the body is actually attached to the inside of the shell, and they're attached to it. You can see the rings, and on a box turtle, our state reptile, state turtle, it's said by counting the number of rings on several scales, adding them up, and taking an average, you can tell approximately how old it is. The biggest box turtle that I've ever found was about as big as the front part of Toots's shell that's not covered, and it had over 90 rings. Because as a turtle grows, even an aquatic turtle, their scales do shed off, so the shell grows with them. You can see these big feet. Tortoises have those for digging with, because he will dig down into the ground, or she, as the case may be, and they will, the females will make a nest and lay their eggs. Good. All of our tortoises here at Catawba Science Center mainly eat vegetation. Today, Pedro here, who's our desert tortoise, is eating a mixture of carrots, looks like lettuce, collards, and maybe some kale or other greens. They do like apples too, but we don't give them too much because they're sweeter than their normal food. Desert tortoises are found in the American Southwest, mainly in the areas of Arizona down into New Mexico, and they are considered to be an endangered species. We got this one from another museum in North Carolina, who got it from another museum who had received it when he was found on a construction site by the construction guys, and they'd been feeding him, and finally took him to one museum, and later on that month, a guy came in, described the turtle, described a marking on the back of its shell, and said, "I think you've got my desert tortoise." So they had to give it back to him. Not too long later, the same construction guys found the same turtle out on this construction site. It started raining. They took it back to the first museum, said, "Don't ever give it back to this guy. He's not taking care of it. He doesn't deserve it." Besides that, these are an endangered species, so they're protected by law. They gave it to the other museum. They had him for a while here in North Carolina, and then we've had it probably close to 20 years. And again, like the other tortoises, they've got rings, and each year are said to add another set of scutes or scales. It looks like he's coming over to visit. He's got a mouthful. And if you look on his feet, they look kind of like an elephant's foot. So some people call them elephants with shells. Okay. Seymour is a sulcata tortoise, the second largest species of tortoise in the world. The biggest ones are the Galapagos tortoise that used to be in kids' zoos, and they let little kids ride on it. But the Galapagos tortoises, all the species are endangered. They're from the Galapagos Islands off South America. Seymour is not full grown. He's the second largest species of tortoise. Sulcata tortoises are found in the dry grasslands of Africa, along the edge of the forest, or the jungle sometimes, but mainly in the grasslands. They're camouflaged because they have the gray, green, and olive color here. And when we got Seymour close to 30 some years ago, he was smaller than this set of scoots or scales. He was the size of an average sized box tortoise. When we got him, he was in a box literally on the Science Center's doorstep with a very sick red-footed tortoise that unfortunately did not survive. We took it up to a herpetologist at Appalachian State, and although he'd done with tortoises for years, it was just too malnourished. So who knows what they've been feeding him. This guy loves in the wild cactus pads, as well as whatever type of greens he can get, and grasses. And he's very strong and probably weighs close to 75 pounds at this point. So we hope that everybody will come visit us at Catawba Science Center. In the Planetarium Aquarium building next door is our herpetarium, where we keep our reptiles and some of our other live animals. It's got a window so that you can look in. And eventually we'll be adding other animal exhibits and such in this room. So thank you, and please come visit us at Catawba Science Center. Remember, the only day that we're closed is Mondays.